Episode number 214. Yomi, Athos, said D'Artagnan. Instead of shutting yourself up here as if you were under arrest, get on horseback, and come and take a ride with me to Saint-Germain. My dear fellow, said Athos, I ride horses when I have any, when I have none, I go afoot. Well, said D'Artagnan, smiling at the misanthropy of Athos, which from any other person would have offended him. I ride what I can get. I am not so proud as you. So au revoir, dear Athos. Au revoir, said the musketeer, making a sign to Grimaud to uncork the bottle he had just brought. D'Artagnan and Planchet mounted, and took the road to Saint-Germain. All along the road, what Athos had said respecting Mimi Bonacieux recurred to the mind of the young man. Although D'Artagnan was not of a very sentimental character, the mercer's pretty wife had made a real impression upon his heart. As he said, he was ready to go to the end of the world to seek her, but the world, being round, has many ends, so that he did not know which way to turn. Meantime, he was going to try to find out Milady. Milady had spoken to the man in the black cloak, therefore she knew him. Now, in the opinion of D'Artagnan, it was certainly the man in the black cloak who had carried off Mimi Bonacieux the second time, as he had carried her off the first. D'Artagnan then only half-lied, which is lying but little, when he said that by going in search of Milady at the same time went in search of Constance. Thinking of all this, and from time to time giving a touch of the spur to his horse, D'Artagnan completed his short journey, and arrived at Saint-Germain. He had just passed by the pavilion, in which 10 years later Louis Roman XIV was born. He rode up a very quiet street, looking to the right and the left to see if he could catch any vestige of his beautiful Englishwoman, when from the ground floor of a pretty house, which, according to the fashion of the time, had no window towards the street, he saw a face peep out with which he thought he was acquainted. This person walked along the terrace, which was ornamented with flowers. Planchet recognized him first. "Hey, monsieur," said he, addressing D'Artagnan. "Don't you remember that face, which is blinking yonder?" "No," said D'Artagnan, "and yet I am certain it is not the first time I have seen that visage." "Parbleu, I believe it is not," said Planchet. "Why, it is poor Lubin, the lackey of the Comte de Wardes, whom you took such good care of a month ago at Calais, on the road to the governor's country house." "So it is," said D'Artagnan. "I know him now. Do you think he would recollect you?" "My faith, monsieur, he was in such trouble that I doubt if he can have retained a very clear recollection of me." "Well, go and talk with the boy," said D'Artagnan, "and make out, if you can from his conversation whether his master is dead." Planchet dismounted, and went straight up to Lubin, who did not at all remember him, and the two lackeys began to chat with the best understanding possible, while D'Artagnan turned the two horses into a lane, went round the house, and came back to watch the conference from behind the hedge of filberts.